Welcome to Crossover to Profits. This is market recap for Monday, July 29th. Really the same story that we've been seeing where looking at our Russell 1000 versus Russell 2000 as our stock market health and where to focus our efforts indicator. Looking at weekly momentum, IWM, the small caps are still in play, where IWB, which is the large caps, showing negative slope on EMA and MACD on the weekly perspective. So I consider those no entry market caps. And then the IWM is still continuing to consolidate towards the high of the year. You can see on the weekly here, positive 5 EMA. MACD is Cayenne and continuing to rise. So really positive momentum. That's been the story for several weeks now. You can see it made this big move and is continuing to press higher. So takeaway here is I would say be cautious in the market, but if you are going to place new trades, only look at small caps. That's how I like to get a gauge of the overall health of the market. And then from there, looking at what sectors are in play, I have each spider pulled up here, looking at the same thing on the weekly time frame. Do they have a positive or negative EMA slope? If it's negative, I don't consider those sectors in play. And then I look at the MACD on the weekly to see if it's positive and rising, or if it's negative and rising with momentum, or if it's negative and falling or positive and falling. So that's corresponding colors to down below and over here to my daily chart. So you can see majority of the sectors I would say are in play. Just based on weekly momentum, you can see XLP, XLF, XLV, XLRE, XLU have both positive weekly EMA slopes plus a MACD that is positive and rising. XLB and XLI, so the basic materials and industrials, have positive EMAs and rising MACD histograms. So I would consider both of those sectors in play. And then our communication services, consumer discretionary, energy, and tech all out of play, either because they have negative slopes or on consumer discretionary, slightly positive slope, but falling momentum. So that's how I look at the sector. So we know what sectors to look at. We know if the market is in a position to put new trades on or not. And then from there, I look at consolidations. And if you're familiar with the squeeze, I like to use a couple different squeeze indicators. I'll use the standard 1.5 ATR Keltner channels, and I'll also use a 2 multiplier. Those red dots here on the daily, and the yellow dots would be that 2 band, which is called the pre-squeeze. And then the purple here is a Bollinger Band squeeze is what I call it. And that's going to look at the Bollinger Band width compared to over a 20 period over versus a 60 period, and just see how that width compares. So that's another way to look at squeezes. So I look at 3 different squeeze conditions, and then I have a 5, 20, 60, and 240 EMA pulled up on my daily chart with Donchian channels at the 60 period to highlight if we've got rising highs and lower and higher lows, or if it's just sideways movement. And then I have this, what I'll call hidden relative volume indicator that I built out. Green bars show that it's got really positive bullish price action for that day with volume. Red means that there's above average volume and it's negative price action. And the purple line here is just average volume. So that's just a way for me to get a gauge of the daily price action, whether it's bearish or bullish, and also the volume. So if you watched the video from Friday I put out, I had 5 stocks that I called out, and one of those, SFM, I actually got a fill on. You can see where my stop loss is, and then my price targets. And after hours, it is up over 14%. So if you followed my advice, you're looking for a nice target hit tomorrow, depending on how you do your target setting. So that was a really good call on my part. You can see consolidating towards 52 period high, and then today, right before earnings, broke out and then sold off almost completely throughout the day. But after hours, you can see it's up over 14%. So looking for to realize some of those price targets I have for tomorrow. Second stock I called out was FHAT. This is a healthcare stock, and I always set my entries to be 25% above the ATR, so close plus 25% of the ATR. So you can see I didn't get a fill today. So this is how I make all my entries. I only want to buy into strength, so I wasn't filled, and you can see the MACD. I can zoom in here, has actually gone negative. Not a lot of volume support in that, so I'm going to go ahead and just cancel that trade because it's not in a condition where I would want to enter. So that's a no fill. The third one was IRT, which is a REIT. I got filled. It sold off a little bit through the day, so it's basically moving sideways. More to come on that. HCC was the fourth one. Got a fill and then sold off, so not looking great, but still a lot of room before I would hit my stop loss. And then the final one was MTZ, which was an industrials. Similar story where it almost got filled, but didn't quite, and then it sold off throughout the rest of the day, and now we have our MACD turned down. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because it's no longer meeting my conditions for entry. So that's just a recap of where we were as of yesterday. And now we're going to pull up what our screener is pulling up for today. So we've got our sectors that we're looking at. So the top tier, we're looking for consumer staples, XLP. I don't have anything. Again, these are consolidation. We'll call them squeeze candidates. Nothing showing up on my scanner. XLF, we have one SEIC. You can see it just recently had earnings, a lot of volatility. You can see big run up before earnings, sell off, and then on earnings day, opened way lower, gapped way down, recovered almost all of that, and now we're starting to trend up again. Some nice green bars here with the red. We got the MACD turned back up positive, so I would consider that a good candidate. Over here on the left, we have the weekly. It's been on a tear for most of end of 2023 and into the beginning of 2024. Pulled back quite a bit. It's been consolidating for a while. A lot of volatility, but some good MACD momentum. We got some volume coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and say that's an entry candidate. XLV, I've got nothing there. XLRE, so we have a hotel and resorts REIT. Not a lot of volatility in this stock. That's the problem with REITs. They just don't move a lot, so they require a pretty big position. I'm not really seeing anything here that would make me think there's some good volume that's bullish, but I think I'd like to see it actually break this level here. You can see the Donchian 60 period is at 10.86. If it broke that and started a new uptrend, I would consider it, but I'm going to pass on that. XLU, I don't have any utilities. And then our second tier would be XLB, no basic materials, and then XLI. So we got two industrials. KNX, which is a transport, just an up and down movement, no real trend here for the last year. So I'm going to pass on that. And then PSN, which is a professional services. It's had a big move, pulled back, and now it's starting to. You got a negative slope on the weekly. It does have positive MACD momentum, but there's just not a lot of volume coming in. It's not bullish volume, so I'm going to pass on that. So the only stock I'm seeing as an entry is going to be SEIC. I just want to highlight something here. So this was the SFM. So as I said, I called this out on Friday. You can see after hours up big. I use Finviz. So if you're wanting to kind of monitor the market throughout the day and not just look at it at night, if you have a desk job like I do and want to just kind of keep a pulse on the market, Finviz is my go-to. Shows all the major indices. It has the sector heat map over here. You can see your big movers and losers. So I definitely encourage you, if you don't have Finviz, it's free. There's going to be a lot of pop-ups, but if you want the elite version, which I definitely think is worth it, I'll have a link in the description where you can sign up for that. I definitely think it's a great platform. And then here is the tool I use to track my entry. So my fills on SFM, IRT, HCC, and then you can see the FHAT, I went ahead and closed those positions. So I put X's in there just to mark them as not filled. And then I can change the status up here just to remove the not filled, just to look at the positions I have open. And then I like to do price targets of 1, 2, and 3 ATR, and then 12 for my final. So majority of my stocks are going to be, if I hit a price target, it's going to be in that 1, 2, or 3 ATR range. And then I like to have a quarter of my position available for a big price move. But the reality is that doesn't happen too often, but it's nice to be able to capture some big movers. That's how I structure my trades. I have ability to just to quickly plug in any new entry I want to put on. It'll calculate the exact amount of shares, my entry, my stop loss, my targets, my risk to reward. So really helpful tool that I use every single day when I look at my swing trades. So I'll have a link in the description to this model as well. But thanks for watching. Hope you found that helpful. I'll have a lot more videos coming out. Please give me a like and comment if you place the SFM trade and you're looking forward to a good open in the morning. Let me know if you have any feedback. Thanks for watching, and God bless.